the triathlon. Did you guys win the triathlon, Greg?
No, somebody died on it. Somebody in the swim, like my leg of it had a heart attack. I didn't see it happening, but I heard about it later on there. Somebody
don't speak of dying. I came too close a couple months ago. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jesse, Greg, good to see you guys. Jesse, I noticed you changed your background. Did you have paint the room or something? Move room?
No, I looked like I was in like a prison cell. So my wife found like these designs, and we're moving. I'm actually building an office. It's just not done, and it's not like building them. It's in my house, but I'm putting a better backdrop in, and this is temporary. But she saw this cow and thought of me apparently.
I can't wait to see the cow.
Yeah, it's right there. It's here.
Oh, is that what that is?
It's like half a cow.
It's a half a cow. Oh, it's half a cow.
Yeah, here's the plates where I put the food.
I thought it was some sort of design with art, kind of. It's a half a cow. Oh, I do see that now. Okay, yeah, I've got Yoda right there. So
Yes. Yeah, you have like how they have that on X or Twitter. They call it. They have like the back room and they rank it. You're a 10.
Chuck won that competition.
Actually, I was only rated an 8 out of 10 in Room Rater. By the way,
that is crazy. That your room is amazing.
Yeah, well, it was a different setup at the time, so I made this. So if I'm ever on Room Rater again, I can get 10 out of 10.
Definitely,
it'd be kind of nice. Great to see you guys. Obviously, there's been no movement as far as litigation in the last week or so since we last talked. The 601A litigation is frozen by the court, and the 601 litigation is just waiting for the judge. We'll be filing tomorrow an update of a couple of cases that were decided that we think help us in that situation. And I guess we could update. Let's start with Ukraine, Greg.
Yeah.
Because I think Law 360 wrote an article about it that was wrong. Because the judge tossed this Ukrainian case. The judge didn't toss the Ukrainian case. The judge moved the Ukrainian case, which is an entirely different thing. I'm surprised usually they're pretty good at Law 360. I was surprised they
No, I mean, there was some good news in that decision. There was
really good news.
Like, would we have liked to, have just kept it there and won the motion to dismiss and all that? Yeah, but it wasn't also the opposite of that, which was throwing it out and saying you have no case on there. The judge basically said you have a very good case, but they have a stronger argument on the venue issue. So you need to do this in New York. But he basically broadcast for the next judge that he thought that the arguments were pretty good.
Yeah, it was. People have, well, why did you file it there? Well, actually, that's not. We agreed to file it there with our co-counsel, but our co-counsel really wanted it there.
There were some good reasons. It was a good reason. Really good case law. Really good case law there, and it would have been, that would have been ideal. But we have I think we still have a pretty good shot at this case.
Yeah, I mean, Judge Boasberg essentially agreed with what our position was, except for
venue,
venue and Little Tucker. I mean, it was he certainly could have. I assume he could have kept the Little Tucker part of it. Ultimately, these cases don't come around all that often because the government doesn't steal money all the time. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe they do steal money all the time, and we don't. We're just not.
I've got another theory on another case, by the way.
It's tough. It's tough to get It's tough to take your money back from a sovereign, I guess. But ultimately, it's shameful that we're in this position. I mean, honestly, because what we're talking about, we have a $33 trillion deficit, and we're talking about chump change for people who are out there trying to just get their money back.
$400 would make a difference. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we've spent that 10 times over in litigation fees. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just give the people their money back.
Yeah, it's just really kind of crazy.
So
it hasn't been assigned to a new judge in New York that I'm aware of yet. And there's no interlocutory appeal of a venue change. So we can't really go to the 11th to the DC circuit. Not that we would want to go to
No,
the DC circuit.
That would also cause delay, and
So we don't want delay. Great, we'll move it. Whatever. We'll see who's assigned to the case. The New York. Did he move it to Eastern District of New York or Southern District?
I think it's Eastern District. I mean, one thing that I don't know. I mean, again, I'm always kind of, I don't know, willfully blind or hopefully optimistic, one of those. But those district court, the U.S. attorney's offices in New York usually don't let the Washington people in all the time, and they want to handle their own stuff before their own judges. They may sit there and say, listen, what's the check? Can you write it? We don't feel like I think a judge may get angry, because we're going to probably fight over venue again. They're going to probably try to.
They're going to want to get us back to DC.
Correct.
In the other court is what they're going to do.
And then, a judge, we're going to go through motions practice. And, I think at some point, the buck's going to stop. But
what's interesting about that, Jesse, is they brought that up in front of the DC judge and he chose New York.
Yeah.
He could have sent it back to the Court of Claims too, but he didn't.
Yeah. No, that's right. I mean, thinking of, I think Boasberg's no dummy. That's for sure.
Well, my best part about his decision, though, was him citing his own case about why our position on refunds was okay. The case that the government literally ignored, which is essentially the controlling precedent in this courtroom.
Well, right. And he made a very, we had kind of talked about it internally, but I think his distinction with the IT Serve case that we really pushed hard in our reply brief, I remember, that was important. That's an important precedent. It's not precedent, but it's an important analysis for the next time they want to take some money. Or maybe another agency takes money. But yeah, it's just, it's crazy. It's still unfortunate. It's like the Go case and all the, I see all the comments and the DVs and, again, you want a decision. The decision is standing at the footsteps of, the Attorney General, Solicitor General. They could stop that litigation like yesterday, but
they haven't.
We wait.
We wait. Yeah, I'm actually checking on Pacer right now, and the case is still noted as assigned to the DC Court of Appeals. To the DC Circuit. DC District Court. So it hadn't even moved to New York yet.
Yeah, it won't. It'll take some time. Yeah.
Well, we know that from Chuck Rabarty. Sometimes it takes time, and sometimes they do it the same day. It just depends on what it is. All right, just briefly, the 601A delay case. They're in briefing right now of the Ninth Circuit appeal of this other case, and I believe we're preparing our amicus. Is that right, Jesse? I think we're preparing.
And we've had 7 more cases approved since last week.
Oh, that's awesome news. That's awesome news.
So we're at 45 approvals, no denials.
I looked actually at the dockets in Lovo, which is the Fourth Circuit case, and the Ninth Circuit case. I actually think an amicus brief was filed in already.
Really?
In Mercado, yeah. And in Lovo, briefing's complete. So that case may get set. Fourth Circuit is actually a pretty quick court.
Yeah, Fourth Circuit's very chop. It's not the DC Circuit. By the way, I was just looking again at the Ukraine case. The deadline to transfer is 10/16. So
yeah.
So we'll by our next week's call, we'll know. Hopefully, who's got it in New York.
Yeah.
So the 601A delay case. And Greg, besides the approvals, there's not any other transfers going back and forth anywhere, is there?
No.
Yeah, I think
nothing's happened. There was just.
I think they're done now with all the scanning, and they said they were done with all the scanning stuff, and now it's just a question of.
Yeah, we get these sort of weird things. It's like correspondence was received, and USCIS is reviewing it. Like, I had a couple of those. They don't really tell you anything. But nothing that looks like there's sort of major things happening with the cases. Everything was just basically just approvals in the last week.
Okay. And then the 601 case is I guess we noted earlier, we're filing a supplemental authority motion, notice with the court, and hopefully the judge will make a decision soon. But I think we've only got 6 plaintiffs left, 5 or 6 plaintiffs left in that case.
Yeah.
So. All right. we have anything else, gentlemen, as far as the update? Go. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
It's still pending. The Gomez, everybody's lottery case. I had a really interesting chat with somebody the other day about that. I said, why is this? Why do you think it's so important? I said that they're taking so long on this case. I said, well, this case isn't really about the lottery. This is really not even about immigration. This is about the power of federal court judges, actually, to supersede an act of Congress. And I told them, look, if we win, government's going to go to the SCOTUS. And if we lose, we're going to SCOTUS. And I think this is the kind of case that SCOTUS might be quite interested in, honestly. So,
yeah, I mean, it's certain.
SCOTUS is the Supreme Court, just for the non-lawyers out there.
Yeah, at a certain point, they're going to have
body part. Okay,
they're going to have to take a look. They're going to do it. I mean, there's going to be a consular non-reviewability case that goes. I think is going to go. And I'll talk about it briefly, just because it'll set the backdrop for where this is going. But so consular non-reviewability is this kind of shield that the State Department uses to say that anything they do to deny a visa, just no one can look at it. No federal judges can change it. It can be egregiously wrong. Get away from us. And there has been a little carve out for spouses, U.S. citizen spouses whose spouses get denied a visa abroad. And the D.C. Circuit actually came out in a case called Calindris and said, no, there's no liberty interest or due process right to have spouses and live with you, and that's ridiculous. And then the Ninth Circuit actually came out the other way,
the opposite.
And in the Ninth Circuit case, and they lost, by the way, in that case, that they actually said, we're going to take a look at whether you actually had a good reason to deny this spouse a visa.
They didn't.
No, they didn't. They made one up. And they got caught making it up because they made it after the fact.
After the court was not happy.
And I find it amazing that the government is going to take up that Ninth Circuit case. They filed a writ for Supreme Court review. And at the same time, the plaintiff in Calindris, they're going to take it up. And so you really do have a perfect scenario. You have a split. You have an important issue. I think the Supreme Court's going to take a look. And to be quite honest, it's an incredible opportunity for the Gorsuch contingent, if he can round up some votes, to say, you know what, this whole judicially created doctrine of consular non-reviewability is bunk.
It was
it's the 21st century. We can look at this. What do you mean?
Jesse, we are actually coming up on the 100th anniversary of the creation of the consular non-reviewability doctrine, which came out of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in 1927.
Yeah.
Now, the most recent Supreme Court pronouncement on this is Kerry versus Din, which said, the spouse has an interest, but the only interest is a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
And once you get a legitimate reason, that's it. The Ninth Circuit went a step further and said, you got to give an explanation about this. And so I think it'll be, I actually have a case here that I'm considering doing pro bono. We have a client, not a client yet, but he's a person, I've had several consults with him, U.S. citizen guy, very angry U.S. citizen guy, married a woman from El Salvador. He sponsored her child. Child was denied for gang involvement. The kid has no gang involvement. He just happens to be from El Salvador, but nothing. There's no evidence of this. We FOIA'd everything. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And when this Ninth Circuit case came out, I called him and said, this might, the 11th Circuit hates the Ninth Circuit. So you don't really live in the best place for this, but you are the petitioner, just like a spouse. You have an interest in immigrating this person, this immediate relative. Maybe we want to go to town on this. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say in the D.C. Circuit case where they actually said there's no liberty interest in having
that was a terrible decision.
Yeah, well, Srinivasan actually, who's in the Gomez case, he wrote a concurrence and kind of didn't really agree with that approach from his other judges and said, I think you're wrong about that, or don't have to reach that issue. But it's important because, our case in Gomez doesn't necessarily implicate consular non-reviewability, but it does implicate the power of the State Department to basically destroy eligibility for a particular visa class. And I'm sure they're having to grapple with how far they need to go. I hope they're grappling with how far they need to go to let the State Department know that if you screw up so badly, we're going to be here as a federal court to make sure that we make people right. We make it right.
What equity is. I mean,
no, totally. I mean,
what equity is. That's what they're
doing. But you have you have this wing of thought from Judge Henderson, and I think Katsas was struggling with it, who were like, no, man, we should just let them do whatever they want. They're the State Department. They have kill people. Yeah, sure.
They're the experts.
Yeah, the experts. They always make the right decision. So
I think what helps us with Katsas, I think why he's so undecided, is how intentional this was, especially in 2021.
Well,
how
right.
intentional it was.
And they just read the statute wrong. And their argument is, oh, we've been doing that for years.
You haven't.
Yeah. No, we've been reading it wrong for years.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's almost like what is that? Adverse possession and
it's like adverse possession.
Like, well, we read this, we just you know what? We never even looked at it. And let's just pretend that our version is right. I mean, that's really the argument, right?
Chuck, you mentioned that this case has these all these implications beyond just the matter at hand. And why would the government not think it's strategically better just to take a district court decision that was not in their favor
by one random judge
and by one judge versus risking it potentially much more by taking this case up on appeal?
Well, I think this is being pushed. I don't think this is an affirmative decision of the White House. I think this is being pushed strongly by the career folks at State.
100%.
Right. So they're not thinking about the bigger implications.
And you need to understand too, so this is what kind of happens with like DOJ, Solicitor General, State. They win some cases, they get on a hot streak and they feel like they're, or they lose and they think they're right. And they, Meta's this, lefty's not, doesn't understand. If it was before a different judge, it would have never happened. And, Chutkin too. And I think they get really confident and they live in that DC bubble, and judges, take a fresh look and they're like, this is insane. Like, what are you talking about? And I've been there. I've been on the other side of it. I mean, when they did it with criminal removability, right? Yep. And they would say like, hey, categorical, who cares? And they had to lose like 7 times. Same thing with NTAs. Yeah. With not having a time and place.
They're still doing it. They're still
doing it. Yeah. And it's like, and they do this and they take these positions. And I mean, to tie a kind of a loop here with the 601 and 601A stuff, it's kind of like their position now, right? Patel comes out, has nothing to do with what we're talking about now, right? And they start saying, oh, yeah, if it's discretionary, that means we have the discretion to never do anything.
Right.
And I think the Ninth Circuit's going to, if they get the right panel, Ninth Circuit's going to be like,
oh, no. I mean, the fact
that's
that
crazy.
What concerns me is there's federal judges buying that garbage.
Totally.
I just don't get that.
It's, because
I think it's a lazy approach.
Some people don't want to do hard things. And the government always gets a presumption of like believability. And
I don't know. I think I'll be quoting, if I'm the private attorney, that footnote from your decision in the EB-5 case, how the writings and the position of the government not quite up to par.
Yeah.
We expect better. I'm going to start using that footnote in my cases.
Well, here's the other thing. I actually did a little work on this because I'm like, they must have considered this argument before, and they did. In when the APA and unreasonable delays kind of came back, or I don't know, there was this body of case law in 2007, 2006, 2008 when there was a lot of mandamus. And they came up with, and then the SUA case, Norton came out, And DOJ trotted out this argument that they were like, hey, all immigration benefits, the pace
They
is
lost
our
that
own.
every time.
They lost it.
Every time.
This is the same argument.
It's the same thing. All right, let's look at some questions here. We've got Omar, good to see you. Yeah, we gave you some positive words today. Yeah, Joanne, what happened last week is I just forgot to take questions. It was my first day back, and I was still a little loopy.
Great bug.
I was still a little loopy, man. I'm sorry. I'm out of the woods now. I have nothing in my body extra that I don't need, and so I'm good. I'm sorry about that. Next H-1B lottery is March 1 through March 15.
Are we going to have a new regulation before that?
Well, I think based on what we have heard, Greg, they're most definitely going to be new regulation. It's going to cost more if it's not stopped by litigation, but who knows what it's going to say? I don't, recently I've seen a lot of stuff come out where there was 400,000 actual applications and 300 other error-filled applications or something like that. It's like, what? No,
they've done a pretty good job of keeping it secret what they're working on, because I haven't heard any details as far as like what's
it's under double secret probation. Daniel Lopez, any good news for us players waiting 601 waiver? Still pending with the court. Asked the judge to at least give us a work permit. Yeah, well, the judge Gustavo cannot give work permits. That's not within his bailiwick for a pending 601A. So I'm sorry to say.
It could be a part of a settlement.
Yeah. So
I will say it does. It is insane. If you look at, and again, I don't mean to criticize. Well, I do mean to criticize. We're giving out work permits like
candy.
Like candy.
No,
like,
I mean, really.
What the hell? Who is taught? Like, I wish someone in the White House would just tap him on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, you just might as well just go all the way. Like, you're just do it." Because you have cities like Massachusetts, the mayor and local officials are going crazy because they want people to have work permits.
Yeah, that's why they did these parole. Someone emailed me today and said, "Hey, I was paroled under 212D5, which is just a general humanitarian parole. Can I apply for a work permit?" Yeah, you now can.
Yeah.
What?
So why not 601As? It makes no sense. I mean, it literally is something where I think if we all sat in a room for 5 minutes with leadership, like, at USCIS, and they actually had to think about it, they would say, it kind of does make sense. We might as well do it.
Oh, just illustrates a bigger problem we have with our litigation, which, this whole process is bananas, where we never actually can talk to the government after we've sued them. Even in cases where there's millions and millions of dollars at stake, where a conversation like what you just described, Jesse, would potentially solve a lot of problems. In fact, Urja too, Chuck, that was that classic statement that she made. She said, why are you guys suing us? You should just be talking to us. But for goodness sakes, you could make a lot of this litigation go away after the fact by having reasonable conversations, especially in the high impact cases.
She doesn't accept DMs on her Twitter. So I don't know how you.
And it would make money instead of taking the money from the Ukrainian refugees. You could just take it from the. They're willing. They want to give it to you.
People want to give you money. It's clearly insane. Absolutely insane. Mr. Lyons, we updated on 6. We have no new updates, approvals that we're aware of this week. I think we had one last week. What do you guys think today being proposed by some attorneys to ask is to delay the approval of I went for Indian National certified until PD close to current for CSPA. Well, they're effectively doing this already for I-130s. They have I-130s pending for a decade. And so there would be nothing new that they're doing for I-140s. And I understand.
It's a good suggestion, though, Emily. And I think that would probably be a good liaison request, potentially, from some of the organizations that work on this stuff.
Except, for 526s, I don't think it's intentional that they're delaying adjudication. I think it's incompetence that results in a benefit. The I-130s, however, is all. Now in terms of immigration is a pyramid scheme. It's a pyramid scheme. They're using money they take in today to adjudicate cases they took in 15 years ago.
That's true.
It's all a pyramid.
They should just freeze the time for anyone backlogged on the approval of the petition.
Yeah, that just say it's frozen.
It's a Ponzi scheme, not a pyramid scheme.
Oh, that's a Ponzi. Okay, so I don't know. I think it's kind of a pyramid scheme. Oh yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. You're right. It is a Ponzi scheme. You're right. I had my metaphors mixed up. Gustavo, plaintiffs, are we still waiting? Yes, we're still waiting. Well, no, we're not. We're not waiting for the 601A decision. That case is frozen. 601A is frozen until the appeals court over this court rules on another 601A case or a couple of them.
Right.
Because even if the cap was removed and all green cards went to the end, we still have backlog. And so, Greg, I am updating, by the way, my article on the coming apocalypse of the Visa Bulletin to actually reflect the apocalypse of the Visa Bulletin. The new November Visa Bulletin's out. Of course, there's no movement, as I predicted 5 months ago, and there won't be any movement because there's like a 700,000 case backlog of people just through the pending labor certs.
Yeah.
Just through the labor certs. That's a lot of that's ROW. So it's going to get.
Well, I think they're broadcasting that too with the 5-year EADs. I mean, they're not. I mean, they know. They have better information that they're not sharing. That's what I'll say.
Okay, Emily always files they're sending it to me. I think so many lawsuits will be filed against it. Well, this is the kind of thing, Emily, that you should be talking to Chev at AILA National, former USCIS employee who runs AILA's direct liaison with the USCIS, and ask her, why are they asking for this? That would be a good way to do that.
Always.
Manny, do you guys check processing of 601A? Yes, there is no. Yeah, I talked about this last week, Manny. There's no longer a separation between service centers. It's just all service centers, 44 and a half months.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean they made this bold claim that they were going to be down to 12-month processing times
within 12 months, right?
Right. So we're now. I mean, we haven't seen any chipping away at processing times, even though they've they have all these cases that have been logged in. I have no idea when they're going to have to start making some major improvements in processing times in the next, pretty steadily month to month that they're going to get to that target.
It's a mathematical. I mean, they would have to start banging out 25,000 a month.
Well, they have, as of July 31st, June 31st, 138,000 pending 601As.
The only way they can do it is
there's no June 31st on the calendar. You mean June 30th?
June 30th. That's as of June 30th. So as of that quarter.
They'll play games with it though. They may, if they start doing last in, first out or something, to play games with the processing times. That's the only kind of.
Well, keep in mind, while our case is pending, so we've sued them over this. Yeah. They know the focus is on this. They got 25,000 applications year to date on 601As while our case is pending, and they've adjudicated 7.
Yeah, that's nuts.
1,000. I mean,
it would be the greatest coup of all time if somehow, man, I'm just thinking of like how the administration could finally curry favor with kind of this population and allow them to somehow adjust or do something without constant processing. I mean, I don't know if they can. It would have to be, but what a coup.
They could do parole in place.
They could do parole in place, yeah.
They absolutely could do a universal parole in place if you meet certain criteria.
I feel like if the election, because we're coming up on an election year, so I would like, in Obama, we talked about how DACA was the greatest, kind of he had been playing it down, that really propelled him, that helped him. He needs a boost on the immigration side. I mean, this could be for the population who are here, who've done everything right.
He needs to. I mean, the reality is him being anti-immigrant gets him no votes.
No.
So, and he's not going to, and so he's not losing any votes by being pro-immigrant and talking. Yeah. If he gave an immigration speech like the Israel speech he gave yesterday, he wins re-election.
Well, here's the other thing. Why isn't that? I mean, obviously, it's a horrific, unbelievable. But why would not that be a catalyst to show why we need to protect those that are already here before sending them away, perhaps separating them from their families? I mean, because I mean, it's just horrific. And I don't mean to say use a crisis as a moment, but I mean, it does kind of highlight that we are, the best ugly shirt in the closet who can protect people. We still have the ability to protect our citizenry, right? I mean, and a lot of these people, a lot of people are from dangerous places, and we're forcing them to not only wait without working, but then return without no promise of coming back. It's just a huge missed opportunity for this administration.
Well, I'll give you an example of that. That's just one of our 601As was for somebody from Gaza.
Yeah.
Was he going to? He's not going back to Israel. He would go back to Israel.
No, and that, by the way, there was a development. I don't know if you, Chuck, you would have seen the AO statement on trying to provide some relief benefits to people that are stuck in the United States. That would potentially benefit. If they do some kind of TPS or something for people from that region, that would potentially benefit from that. So keep an eye out for something like that coming.
Omar's shocked that I think the government's going to appeal the case. This is a big deal to them. It just is, as we talked about. Yeah. T Lions, congrats, Joanne. It's really cool. We're really excited for Joanne. Woo! It's awesome stuff.
That is good. All right.
And we get one last question from Secret Amazon Man. I don't know. I think I made a mistake of the question. How should I go about tracking already submitted form? That's an interesting question because normally in the past I would say just wait for your interview. But now they're waiving so many interviews, you might want to have your lawyer submit a corrected form. But I don't, it depends on why you were subject to grounds of admissibility. It's like my favorite question on the net.
If it was just an accidental checking but actually, I don't know.
It just depends on how material it is. But you definitely want to talk to legal counsel. I would need to see the form. We'd all need to see the form to tell you. But it's like my favorite question on the NATS application. Have you ever committed a crime for which you have not been arrested? Truly, it's the greatest question perhaps ever written. And the government did that question. It's on the form. You can read it. It's awesome. All right. We'll come back next week. We'll be live. I'll be live at 1:00 today on my Facebook page. Nobody else is live this week. Greg, you going to live or?
No, but I will tell you that we will be starting soon doing live streams on immigration technology.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be totally awesome.
My big AI product is about 2 weeks away from wider release than just a small group that's been testing. I'll make sure that you guys get to use it. But that's so I will be talking a lot, but it's going to be mostly tech.
Yeah. So, Greg, quick question: are you on Blue Sky yet?
Oh, that alternative to Twitter.
Yeah.
I have accounts on all of them. I'm not too.
Well, do you have an invite you can send me on Blue Sky? I need an invite.
Oh, probably. Okay. Is anybody over there?
Twitter's becoming honestly unusable. It's
Twitter. I'm like, I can't figure out how my Twitter following still continues to grow. That's the only thing.
You are the GS.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Yeah, no, I just sailed past 80,000 followers.
That's awesome. I'm like right at 50, but it's they got your ones you follow, the ones you want to, and then you have for you. Well, the for you are all blue check mark crazies.
Yeah,
stuff. So
I have to. So I'll make a confession. For a long time, I was verified for
a long time,
years on there, and then I was unverified, like everybody else that was verified after Elon came in. And when I found out that you could pay the $8 and not and ask for the check mark not to be there on there, I said, well, I actually used to pay Twitter. I think it was $5 a month. I used to pay them for some of those features that I wanted that are available to verify, like the edit feature where you get to, you can go back and make
the glorious edit feature.
Yeah. Right. You can make a change. You can go a little bit longer as far as, the 280 characters. There's all kinds of like little useful things. The last thing I want though is to like interact with people that are like actually happy about, touting that they have that. So that's my secret, is that I did that. But
Well, my secret is I blocked
I'd rather
Elon.
be verified. That's for sure.
My secret is I blocked Elon Musk.
Yeah, I don't block him, but I mute him.
Yeah, I just blocked him. You know, I want him to know I blocked him. So, all right, we'll see you guys next week. Jesse, keep up the fight. I can't wait to see the other half of the cow.
It's you know, again, I'm gonna have a whole new backdrop.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope you get an actual camera too instead of your laptop.
You know, I'm slow to the uptake. You know, I'm just a country bumpkin out here in Massachusetts.
From Boston. From Boston.
No, I'm just doing my own thing. I'm about to get, you know, I might get a horse or something. You don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like buying a boat. Just dump money into it.
I know. I'll probably just stick to my primary focus. I mean, you know, other than social media, is, you know, the 2nd and 3rd grade flag football right now is really big.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's huge. So that's I got to draw.
I wish they had flag football when I was a kid. I wouldn't have those concussions.
Totally.
I did tackle Little League.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
We're paying the price. All right, guys. Have a great day.